Hey guys, we are back on Josh's account today, aka This Game Suck. What a nice name. Can't say anything against it really, so if it's the truth then it's a nice name, right? Today I wanted to go over whatever type of runes that Josh has been keeping so far for his early game content in Summoner's War, and also go through some of the runes that he's been farming and take a look at what he's been keeping and what not. So we're gonna just go ahead and first take a look right now at the runes that he has been farming as of recent. I've asked him to not power up runes that he feels are worth keeping, and we're just gonna go through those right now. So let me set a disclaimer right now. So this guide is not meant for you to watch this and be like, okay, so this is how I need to be keeping my runes to maintain just everything runed right now at where I'm at. So what I mean by that is this rune here, it might be sufficient, right? If it rolls another roll into speed for early game content as your revenge rune for a unit that may need it. However, as you move on into the late game, runes like these are seldom used. So my job and goal in this video is basically to point out how do you want to transition your rune inventory into the later stages of the game so that you can have a more compact rune inventory, less mana being wasted thrown around. And yeah, so it's basically a rune selling guide moving into the later stages of the game. So this rune, it's gonna be a sell, but I'm not gonna sell it because I think Josh would rather not have me sell things that are powered up. Anyways, here, runes like this, they are very hard to use. Despite it being a legend rune with basically close to ideal rolls so far, these type of rune sets on these random slots are very difficult. Now a rune like this is absolutely usable. That's a legend rune that rolled once into flat HP, but it's still like a purple quality, so that's very nice. So basically when it comes to runes like these, it's very simple. All you have to do is +3 them, and if it doesn't roll into speed, you simply go ahead and sell it. Of course, if it's a flat set, there's even more reason to sell that. Same thing applies to the slot 2, although when it comes to slot 2 for 6, you do give a little bit more room for just opportunities. So this rune already rolled 5+5 attack, so that was really low rolls. You can check out how the rolls go by just clicking on the stats here. As you can see in the little minimum movement on the screen, that's where my thumb is tapping right now. And if you just hold that area, you can see what the minimum to maximum rolls are. So we started off on the minimum roll and got another minimum roll, so that was already pretty garbage. And now it rolled flat set as well, so that's going to be a extremely easy sell. Crit rate slot 4, these are definitely very handy to have. So if you don't have a lot of good crit rate slot 4s, you have to go a little bit easy on them, and you have to roll them out a bit more like I'm doing here. And if it rolls resistance, that was the worst stat possible on the whole entire rune. Not only that, the roll was really bad, because if we check out the stats again, the resistance can go up to 8% per roll. So now, if we do 8+8, which would be 1 roll, that's 16. And we did 2 rolls for 17. So that's really garbage. That's just going to get a straight up sell for me. Any rune that rolls inefficiently, that's a good buy. And in my opinion, once you have your Chikaru team built, the only reason you may need a guard rune like this would be for Copper Bulldozer. But Copper Bulldozer are units that prefer to be on will runes and also on rage runes. So in my opinion, this is an easy sell. Runes like this, for sets that are not too popular, they don't have speed, sell them. We have actually a really interesting one to take a look at, a flat stat rune. You guys know flat stats are bad for slot 2 for 6, unless we're talking speed slot 2. What do you do when it rolls speed like this? Well, to tell you the truth, I think there is some point in the early game where even these flat runes can be extremely helpful to help push the speed of your swift units faster. So you can go swift broken and just try to have the fastest Bastet in the world, let's say. However, I feel like for flat sets, triple roll speeds get outdated very fast. So I think you should hold on to this as a potential rune for any of the units that really want to prioritize speed, but likely this will become a sell down the road. Now moving on, when we have runes that roll speed twice and it goes into another stat, that is not the worst, right? So we have a crit rate roll here. What do you do with runes like this? Well, in my opinion, if this rune was for something like a violent rune, it would become a keep. Although, if we're thinking in the terms of like super late game, it would still be a sell. Potentially. I mean, this rune in itself, it's not bad though. Let me tell you what, guys. When you look at a rune, one of the best ways to tell if it's a rune worth keeping or not is to check if it has innate stats. So what I mean by innate is if you look at the main stat here, on the flat HP plus 1 for 40, there's nothing below it. But on this one, there's attack plus 7%. When there's a stat below that main stat, we call that a innate stat. And runes with that are really good because it helps you top the efficiency game with a little boost. So purple runes that roll close to the max rolls with an innate, that's usually a keep. So since we're talking in the terms of like a beginner player slash mid game, I would say this rune is a keep. But once you start having a couple of these, then that's when you can sell them because you don't need to have a lot of these around. These are just your starter package into your actual really good runes. Runes like this with double rolls into speed and a roll into accuracy, it's got HP there. That's overall just 3 good stats. Runes like this, once again, you keep these. These are your first baby steps into the more premium runes that you want to see. Same thing here, you can just upgrade and go for speed. But in this case, it's got 3 useful stats, it's got an innate, so if it rolls into HP, then that may become a keep. This rune, we have what I would consider to be 2 useless stats for a shield rune. I find that shield runes are mostly centered around high HP, high speed, so if it rolls into accuracy, that's going to be an easy sell. Shield runes here, we have defense rolls, crit damage. I don't think any defense nukers use shield runes, so that's going to be a sell. I'm just going to sell this for Josh, because that's going to be really such a useless rune. This rune, it's a legend rune. I think this is fine. So this is kind of like similar to this rune, where we talked about 3 useful rolls with an innate stat, but it's got a little bit of extra juice into that flat HP. So it's like a legend rune that became a purple rune, but it's okay as a baby step rune. And then here we have a crit rate roll, but with resistance. So what do you do in a position like this? You have some good efficiency on these rolls. The crit rate, it's only off by 2% from the max, resist is off by 3%, and it's even having an innate. Well, what I think you should do is when it comes to efficient runes above purple quality, you should just hang on to them. But if they sit in your inventory for more than 6 months, sell it. So I can already tell you right off the bat that unless you're building a solo R5 team and it's really slow and just centered around being safe, this rune will not see a use outside of maybe a solo R5. So if this rune is sitting there not being used for solo R5 for 6 months, say goodbye. Accuracy slot 6, these are incredibly helpful, but for the most part, accuracy slot 6 is mainly centered around having speed. So if it rolls crit damage, that's no synergy. So crit damage is only good if you're critting, and if you're going accuracy slot 6, you usually cannot go crit rate slot 4 because your unit would have no other stats in HP attack defense. So this is like an automatic sell. Slot 3 shield, it's got 2 good rolls into speed, and then 1 useful roll. I find it hard to call resistance a useful roll, because resist is a good stat by all means, but not every unit necessarily appreciates that stat. It's just gonna have to be a hold for now. Then we go here and we're like, wow, we see a 15 speed with HP, which is a better substat than resist. At that point, you may as well just sell this rune, but I'm gonna keep this one for Josh right now. Here we have double roll into resist accuracy. In my opinion, when you have a rune that rolled into both resist and accuracy, that's gotta be a sell, because usually, more often than not, runes like that tends to be hard to utilize. This is what I'm looking for, exactly. This is a perfect example of violent runes that you want to keep, basically for any rune sets that you know are extremely prominent and you need more of. You want to look for 3 good stats, or at least 2 good stat lines, and then an accuracy, innate, crit rate, crit damage. Those are usually the best bets for your innates. So this is like fantastic. Absolutely. +9 this. It's going to become such a good rune. It's going to go on your basically any main Vile Bruisers that will need this rune until you get a better legend version. Now for this focus rune here, it's got... This is what I would call a rune with decent efficiency. It's only 3 off CD, 1 off HP, 5 off defense. So overall we're missing like 9 stats. And then the speed can be gemmed out for something else. So that would be a keep. But usually for me, runes that have rolls into crit damage, but not above like 20%, let's say, they usually struggle to find a good place. So although this rune is efficient, it's something that I lean towards selling because the stats that are rolled were not very good. Alright, and now we're just checking back on our Violent Rune. This didn't go ideal because we want all rolls into HP and crit rate if possible. But defense is not bad for units like Velojewel. This could go for like a Violent Siege Tractor. So this is a really nice rune. The efficiency that it rolled, it was about average, nothing too spectacular, but it also wasn't like the worst. So that's already become one of the best runes available on this account. We have defense rolls twice, crit damage rolls twice. So are you guys noticing a pattern? As we go through the runes like this, you start noticing that you have similar runes. I feel like I've seen runes like these before above, right? We come to here, as we go through the runes, it's like, wow, I already have a rune just like this, but even better. Now, those are the moments when you want to just go ahead and sell. Like, for instance, this Violent Rune. Let's get out of the Obtain screen now and look at it from the Sub-Property screen. And if we go for speed, we have so many runes above that 13 speed line that I highly doubt this rune's going to be worth it. Because the efficiency on this rune is so bad, I find it extremely, almost like a negative feeling to invest into that rune, you know what I'm saying? Alright, and now we're gonna go back on track. Coming back to this guard rune, we didn't really go over it. This rune is great. Great innate, it rolled into perfect stats. That's really good for any defense-based nukers. Violent rune with really good rolls in speed and HP. That's a super keep. This is going to be helpful for getting a lot of your supports on Violent Runes. This crit rate rune, it rolled twice into 2 useful stats. So that would be a keep until you get something better. Are you guys noticing a trend? I think we don't even need to go through our runes anymore. We figured it out, right? I've told you guys some of the basic fundamentals to look for in identifying a good rune. And now all you have to do from there onwards is simply go to the rune set that you're looking at. And if it was a rune with, let's say, wow, 22 speed. Oh, that's a nice one. Let's say here, this rune with crit damage and crit rate. Yeah, the rune rolled really bad in efficiency. We got like 4+4 and then 4+5 for the crit stats. Should I keep it? Well, all you have to do is toggle on crit rate and look that you have 16 crit rate there, 15 crit rate. You have so many runes that are just simply better. And that gives you all the reason in the world to sell it. So it's like a game of moving up slowly, and the more you develop things that are at the higher quality, you can go ahead and sell the lower ones with no problem. And I guess the one last thing that we need to go over is, when does the line of selling the worst quality stop? Because obviously, you're not going to just stick to like 5 best runes and everything else that's not as good as those 5 is a sell. Because like that, you're never going to develop a proper rune depth. So I need to clarify this part, because otherwise my advice could be very misleading. So what I've talked about in terms of selling runes that are below your better quality runes, selling those only apply for purple runes that didn't roll close to their maximum efficiencies and also without innates. So once you start getting to purple runes with close to perfect rolls, innates, and anything pretty much that's qualifying as a legend rune with legend substat rolls, those you're keeping, because now that's going to help develop your army of rune depth. So now you can rune multiple units on really fantastic, despair, violent, whatever runes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this video was easy to follow along. I'm not too sure, because I didn't really plan out anything before I started recording, but I just feel like I've basically taught you guys all there is as far as building these rune depth and selling goes. So I really hope that this video has helped you guys get a better idea of how you want to manage your inventory from now on moving into the future. If this video has helped you out, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, share the video with your friends, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.